Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Can you hear us?
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, Berlin people, we can hear you.
All right, I'll just give it a few more moments to let other people roll in. All right, I think we can get started. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to ACDT. It's June the 15th of 2026, and this is ACDT issue number 83. I will just drop the agenda in the chat. We've got a pretty packed agenda today, with a somewhat larger last-minute topic emerging about adding builder deposit system contracts and an execution requests engine API extension to handle that. And then we have a lot of repricing topics, which we will hand out in an EL breakout. So we're going to have breakouts today. Let's get to it. First off, I think we're going to talk about the 80 to 82 proposal that was flagged in ACDC last week. And I'll just drop some relative links in the chat for you all to have a look at. And perhaps is Justin in the call? And would he like to give an overview of this proposal and say why he thinks it's necessary?
Sure, yeah, I am here. So 8282 is just so it's builder execution requests. Instead of verifying the builder deposit signatures like at the slot, like up to like 8,000 or even 16,000 with 400 million gas, we'd introduce a new system contract, which would work like consolidations and withdrawals. And essentially, deposits would be queued there. So we wouldn't have to do that many signature verifications like per slot. Regular validator deposits would be handled just like they are now. Maybe someone else can give more details, like Nico.
Yeah, I think that covers it mostly. I mean, the one thing we avoid is basically the commingling between validator and builder deposits. There's a lot of scenarios where you don't need to validate the public key of a validator deposit just to check that it's not that the builder deposit isn't front running that. So that's the big thing there. So we avoid a lot of there was shared this previously. Justin has a list where there are a lot of scenarios clients need to handle, and most of them go away with this EIP. So, and we put up, so I linked the PRs. We have the system contracts. It's mostly just a copy of the existing contracts that we already have for consolidations and withdrawals. And then there's Justin already did the spec PR. We did the POC in Loadstar. So it's from CL side, It's really minimal, I would say. Maybe Justin can acknowledge that, but it's mostly wiring code from the EL, like extending the existing execution requests. So I don't even think the effort is that big. It's just the coordination between EL and CL that's mostly the effort.
I agree. And it's worth noting that I think 8282 is easier to implement than all of the optimizations that we would have to implement otherwise.
All right. Thank you very much, Justin and Nico, for the explanation and the motivation. Terence, did you want to add something there?
Yeah, so I guess questions. I guess we are promoting this for the next hub fork was. I think the CO side I can handle it quite well. I don't really see much like I mean there's complexity, but like it's very much doable. But on the EO side, which is I lack knowledge on that and like just question like how difficult it is to essentially do this right now on the EL side, meaning like audit the system contract, making sure the system contract is right, and getting the EL support. I guess the question is like, how aggressive can we be in that front?
Thank you, Terence. So I think we probably need some feedback from the EL side about the extent of this change and the delay. Tony's asking how many delay in weeks this would approximately add to Glamsterdam. And Spencer's adding whether there was a solution without system contracts. Lewis and Spencer discussed that in our chat that basically the system contract is quite complicated and will require quite some testing in order to get that covered. So that would be the concerns from the steel side. If anyone else wants to chime in there, please do. Otherwise, I'd be very interested to hear from EL devs what they would have to say about this
I can
change.
I can give a quick input. So the system contract is complex in the sense that it has a bunch of opcodes, but basically it's very, very similar to the existing system contract. So it's not like it has new logic. It's just the same type of queue that we already have, just with a different record size. So
Is this the queue that is broken?
broken as in what?
As in the fake exponential doesn't work?
I am not aware of that.
Like there was this issue with this one system contract that you could some requests you could send the request and it would only ever update the cost for the request at the end of the block.
Yeah, it has this.
And this is broken because you can fill up the block with a bunch of requests.
Yeah, this
And-
was never fixed on the original one, but it was decided that it's not a big deal for some reason. There was some arguments why this is acceptable. We could change this. The main reason we didn't change last time is because we would have driven up the gas costs of adding. Right now, the thing is that it would just mean like more storage rights and more computation on every single request, which just means it's more expensive to submit such a request to the chain. But we might just be fine with that. I mean, in the end of the day, it's just the builders having to pay a bit more fee to get themselves registered in the system. So I guess that's acceptable.
I
But it does mean we would have to apply changes to the contract and also re-verify the contract. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. But I don't think fundamentally this contract is very complicated. It's just a queue storing stuff to the storage, and we have to check it. But yeah.
All right. Thank you, Felix, for the input. Would anyone else like to speak up from execution layer clients? Respectively, I see that Tony mentioned in the chat that we're going to need one solution or the other, and that this does feel like a right solution. Tony, did you want to elaborate in the call?
I don't really have that much to say. I very much agree with what Justin said. It feels like splitting builders from validators solves the problem. Of course, we have to also bump the SSC limit for validators in parallel, but this should be easily doable. and it allows us to scale up beyond 190 million. So to me, it feels like this is the best solution we have right now.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot, Tony. So I think most people the people that have spoken up seem to think this is a reasonable change, and that it does seem to make sense to do that for Glamsterdam. The main motivation of this discussion is really just to try and get rough consensus so that we can ratify the decision in ACDE on Thursday. In the meantime, on the steel side, we can make a better effort at estimating the testing cost as we see it. Does anyone else want to add anything to this topic before we go to the DevNet discussion? Sorry.
I just want to ask one thing. So to me, this makes sense, and this is the cleanest solution, seems like. So on the performance issue that we had on the processing of the signatures from the CL side, I was wondering if is any client has its own problems, and do we agree that there is no perfect solution if we don't adopt this, and there will be anyway a DOS vector potential for any possible so it's actually impossible to have a client that perfectly handle the edge cases. Because I feel like Teku we are improving and making our validation faster, but I heard that Prism is doing a better job compared to us, but I feel like Prism has its own potential issues anyway. So yeah.
Terence?
I think I can speak on that. So I think we can handle all the cases except the cases that like the attackers are willing to like burn like lots of ETH. I'm speaking on the scale of like the thousands of ETH, right? But in that case, like the question is that what's the difference with the attacker doing that versus like the attacker just buys empty block and starts spending them. So like I guess the fundamental question is that like what is the economic modeling we are willing to accept here, right? I mean, like a lot of the attack that we are testing made up here may not just be. It is realistic on mainnet, but the attackers has a has a cost to such attack.
I see. So probably the correct framing is mostly simplicity, because having this solution, you don't need to think about those cases, and you don't need to add a special optimization for handling this condition to make this thing behave like a current it can remap these conditions into economically feasible things. So maybe if we had designed this from the beginning, assuming more time, we would have landed in this situation, in this solution anyway, and just because it's the most natural things to do.
Thanks a lot, Terence and Enrico, for the thoughts on that. I agree. It does seem like the clean solution. Berlin people, would you like to speak up?
Yeah, that's me. One more thing to mention is that Prism can like handle the case where it's the gas limit's 200 million, but it might not be able to handle when the gas limit's like 400 million, because the number of builder deposits you would be able to submit per slot would double. I'm just saying it'll be more difficult as the gas limit is raised.
So can you just say again, Justin? So basically, with the current gas limit, it's not really an issue, but as the gas limit increases.
Oh, I'm saying that we did all of our testing with like 193 million gas, like the current limit within the SSC limit. But meaning that we only tested where like per slot, the maximum was like 8,000 new builder deposits per slot. Someone could submit a transaction with 16,000 builder deposits in a single slot, and that would probably cause a bunch of issues.
Okay. So this attack is basically a 16,000 ETH attack per slot, right? Is that correct?
No, I'm just saying that it depends on the gas limit. Like it gets worse as the gas limit is raised, is all.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Tony?
Yeah, does the attacker cost also gets worse with the gas limit? Because this is then like going back to what Terence was saying. Like, I think this was an actual very good point that what is the risk we are taking here? If someone would actually submit that many deposits, are we risking a few missed slots? Which Terence is right. If you have that money to attack, you can just literally buy empty blocks.
Maybe POTUS has the answer? Or did you want to bring up another topic?
No, it's on the same topic, but it's not an answer to that. But I mean, if you want an answer to that, no, the attack is about the worst kind of attack is you upfront a lot of money, you spend a lot of money, and then you keep the attack by just sending a single transaction per block. So the cost is just the upfront that you have. As long as you upfront enough money that no CL client can handle that block, then you're good. And that implies that no client will have a cache. But what I want to stress out is that perhaps this discussion would be better taken in a different setting. Instead of like talking about this particular attack, I think it makes more sense, at least to me, to decide whether or not we want to have this solution, we want to have this design or not. The design seems completely reasonable to me. It should have been the right design from the beginning. For the way Ethereum governance works, this could not have been proposed with the IP, but it's clearly the right way of doing things. It removes an attack from the consensus layer, and this is the clean design. This is the right solution, and not for this problem. This is just the right design to have these two paths separated. Now, if you want to conflate this with this attack, I think we're just wasting time thinking on this particular attack. This attack is not really an attack. We already have much, much worse ways of causing liveness issues on Ethereum. We're talking about upfronting money enough to buy the next 20 years of worth of blocks. And I kid you not, just do the arithmetics. And as for each block that passes, we only need one player to submit a block that is actually executable, or one player to wait until the blocks are executed. And that's it. The chain recovers, and the attacker lost all of their funds for 19 years worth of blocks. So this is an attack that we're just wasting time arguing about. We should phrase the discussion on whether or not we want this design or not, in which case I think this is the right design, and I think no one here disagrees with this statement. The disagreement might be on whether or not we want to put the time, we want to delay the fork. This will delay the fork. It's false that we would need more time to implement the mitigations. The mitigations took less than a couple of days to implement on Prism. So it's a reality. We are going to delay the fork because it needs coordination across different layers, testing the EL and the CL. We're going to change the API. The question is, do we want to do this right now or not? It's not a question about this particular attack.
Thanks a lot, POTUS, for the perspective. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. About the time discussion, these contracts will need to be audited, as brought up by Justin in the chat. And that is probably one of the factors which will cause the largest delay to Glamsterdam, but not necessarily for DevNet testing. That can be done in parallel. Is anyone against, just to get a temperature check, is anyone really against making this change? Would people prefer correctness in Glamsterdam over delaying? Okay. Then I would say that we're in quite a good position to make a decision in ACDE on Thursday. But just before we move on to a definite discussion, people are chiming in with correctness in the chat, which is obviously the correct answer. But just before we move on, is there anything we need to do or before we Thursday in order to expedite this? Is there something that we need to know or prepare before Thursday? Nico?
Yeah, just one thing to point out because I'm not sure how this can be done. But so we will deploy the contract before the fork, I'm guessing. And then there's the scenario where you already have builder deposits coming in. So I'm curious how the EL would handle that because I think there was an idea from POTUS in the chat in EPVS, I think, where there was a mention we could use this mechanism to onboard builders at the fork, but I don't think that works to do at the fork, but just curious if ELs can take a look at this and yeah, just think about how that could work.
It's a good point, Nico. Thank you very much. Does someone have an answer on the spot for that now, or any thoughts on that they want to bring up? Okay, then that's definitely something we can pick up for ACDE on Thursday. Otherwise, yeah, please put your thinking caps on and comment on the ACDE issue if you have any other reservations or what we need to do. POTUS?
Yeah, so this is not something to take lightly, what Nico just said. One of the arguments to ship this EIP is that to prevent having cash on clients. But clients will need a cache to deal with the fork, even with the EIP, unless we change that. So this EIP is not preventing a cache that we need to handle at the fork. You need to validate the signatures of the pending queue of deposits at the fork. Otherwise, you're going to be facing the exact same attack, just at the fork.
Thank you, POTUS. Dragon?
I have different topic. If the CL is going to take additional 3 months, let's ship PL before that. We are kind of at the finishing line on the EL changes and we don't have a lot to do there. We'll be ready in like few months. That's assumption here and the best guess. So we could ship PL without CL and then CL can have its own fork in January, February, whatever
Well, but
it is.
this thing impacts CEL, right?
How?
Well, we need to ship the contracts, and we cannot increase the gas limit unless we have this.
You can increase gas limit by some amount because the split between the state gas and the regular gas is basically there. I do agree that probably you cannot increase it by like 5 times that we want to do, but you can at least do something, a basic unblock EL from CL in this form.
Yeah, PK calculated that, I think, and what he ended up with is like you can do a bit more than 200 if with 8037 or like the gas changes and the issue.
Yeah, we don't even need to like go to 200. We can go to like 100. That would be like big bump, and we will have all the things that we are basically working on will be basically deployed. I think it's a good idea if basically CL needs more time. But yeah, this is like for discussion for all code devs.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Dragon. Perhaps this can be discussed async in the meantime before Thursday. If people have strong thoughts on that, and then we reconvene on Thursday to discuss that aspect. POTUS?
Yeah, probably we have a disagreement with Maria's that's talking about numbers, but I think you guys are out of your your head. BALs would increase the block size between 50% and 100%, and even at today's block sizes. And it's not what we're going to be broadcasting just the CL block. We're going to continue broadcasting the full block. Today we have 2 seconds for both propagations and execution. If we increase the gas limit, we're still going to be working on that. The same 2 seconds for propagation plus execution. And on top of that, we're going to be broadcasting a block that is not 90% smaller. It's going to be twice as large as today. So I think it's just crazy to try to ship any gas limit now without EPBS.
Thank you, POTUS. Yeah, I mean, on the other side, the other question that Terence raises is, would this really delay EPBS by 3 months? And yeah, that's
Sorry, POTUS, I don't really get it. Why can we not just increase the gas limit? Yes, the payload will be roughly 2x of what we have right now, but we still have 3 seconds. We're targeting
No,
100
you shouldn't be targeting 3 seconds. We don't have 3 seconds today.
That's including timing games, POTUS, but timing games is elastic demand. If the block is bigger, they don't want it orphaned, so they reduce the amount of timing games they do.
I think now you're talking about something that we don't understand. I mean, why is the blocks would be bigger if I can extract more MEV by delaying the block the block auction?
Sure,
This
but
is out of our hands.
okay, but we're still targeting about 100 100 million gas per second from benchmarking and repricing. So even assuming 2 seconds, that means we should be able to handle 200 million blocks. And let's forget even that. Let's just increase the gas limit to 110.
That again is without the propagation. So it's not about execution. It's execution plus propagation. We don't get the decoupling if we don't ship EPBS.
Yeah, but
don't need it for smaller gas increases is the claim. There's a lot of things happening in block level access lists and repricing that has other benefits besides just increasing the gas limit.
Don't we have like 4 seconds for until attestation deadline right now?
Well, but that's not what's happening in reality. We have 2 seconds. The blocks are coming after 2 seconds.
Yeah, and then you have
In general, we can even be real like conservative and just leave it at 50 million increase. And even if that's not enough, we can decrease it at 20 million for a few months until like CL comes. But I don't see the point basically that we need EPBS to increase the gas for any much. Even if block is bigger, there's a lot of time to like propagate and everything to do.
There's maybe an additional point. Even if we don't increase the gas limit, repricing and block level access lists stand on their own. They're still good features to ship. It reduces the amount of computation a node has to do. It makes ZK proving easier. There's a lot of other topics in there, even if we don't touch the gas limit.
All right. Thanks a lot, everyone, for the debate and expressing your opinions on that. I don't think we're going to get to a conclusion on that today. That's something that we can follow up on Thursday. Perhaps we can make a proposal on Thursday for the 2 routes. Obviously, splitting the EL and the CL at this stage is quite a big change. Barnabas, did you have something to say on that?
Yeah, so there's still proposals in changing 8037 as of today. So saying that the EL is right at the finish line is maybe yeah, not quite right yet. So I would still default to shipping EPBS with Glamsterdam for now, and really only if the ELs feel like they're like being held back by literally multiple months of shipping, where I would consider splitting out the 2.
Just
Otherwise,
to add to
it's just gonna
that,
cause more chaos.
we from EL side, we are planning just one additional DevNet, and we are finished with all the changes. There are a few pending things, yes, that's correct, but that is for the last DevNet that we planned. This is not months of the work. This is something that's going to happen in the next few weeks. Just like information.
Thanks, Barnabas. Thanks, Dragon. Just to talk about DevNets, basically, I mean, before 8282 came up, the plan was to launch Glamstam DevNet 6. Bal DevNet 7 is ongoing. Glamstam DevNet 5 is also ongoing. There was an issue there, but the net has been rescued. So the next canonical Glamstam DevNet would be DevNet 6. And that was initially the target for the larger EL EIP changes to get in. The remaining repricing EIPs, the removal of the self-destruct burn EIP, and some other spec changes across a couple of other EIPs. So I think regardless of this larger discussion, that would be still the plan. That makes sense, at least to me. Happy to hear other opinions. And then an 8282 DevNet or 8282 could be added to the subsequent DevNet from that. Otherwise, I don't know if it makes a lot of sense to go into DevNet planning detail right now, since we have much bigger discussions in the air. I would consider sandboxing this for now, as we have to move to the breakouts in a few minutes. Is there anyone who wanted to add something before we move on? Something that would still be relevant to know now before Thursday?
Yep, sorry. The REST SSD maybe, because that is impacting both layers. We have some changes to the spec. There's implementations in at least 3 clients now. Yeah, it would be what's really missing, I think, is a CL to really implement this, so we can start doing some testing. But yeah, this is kind of, it's not really fork work, so it's kind of, I don't want to take off too many resources from things that are more pressing. Yeah, I would hope once we are on tests on the first test nets or on like the last dev nets, we can put more resources onto shipping this thing. June?
Yeah. So I guess Prism is almost ready for testing. One thing I have to do more is the SSC format of request and response that we wrap on entries as SSC containers. But currently Prism follows what Aragon and Aethrex did a few days ago. So yeah, I guess that's only one more commit are needed to communicate with gas and the spec right now.
Thanks for the update, June. Marius, to your, yeah, I didn't want to forget that for the breakout. The quick question is, what is it that you need on your PR to get it over the edge? I dropped a link in the chat. This is the execution API's PR 793. I think you need some reviews on that, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, there are multiple implementations, and based on those implementations and the reviews from that, I did change the spec again. So everyone should review the spec again and see if and also adapt their implementations to the new spec, which, for example, contains what June just said, the the change that we are packing like an outer layer of SSD packing. And so yeah, just look at it. Again, I don't want to take too many resources away from the fork, so it is not super high priority right now.
Okay. Thank you, Marius. It looks like Andrew left a question on the PR following from your comment yesterday. And otherwise, I think Lukasz and I think Jacek, you asked them to have a quick look at it. Okay, thanks a lot, Marius. All right. Just before we move to the breakouts, I think those were the last topics. I just wondered if someone wanted to give a quick update for everyone what the situation was on DevNet 5 and whether there's any vague sort of idea about the timeline for DevNet 6. Does someone want to give an update on DevNet 5 quickly? Glamstorm DevNet 5.
Yeah, sure. DevNet 5 has been sort of stable. Prism been having some peering issues, and also Grandin had some issues. I'm not sure if anyone from Grandin and Prism could speak up of what the issues were.
From Gradina side, we had a few bugs, and I think we're still fixing some edge cases. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think from Prism side, it was a peering related bug.
It's not clear. There's a conflict. I mean, there are a bunch of things that are coming together. For some reason, we're not getting DA on time over gossip. So whenever we can recover the blobs from the EL, we just sync the blob quickly and that's it. But from time to time, we do not get enough data columns over gossip. We request them, we get them from the peers, and we sync the block. And sometimes we are in that path and the peer doesn't reply with the data columns, and then we are stuck. So then we go back to initial sync. So that's one bug that we do not know what it is. We do not know if it's our bug or if it's just peering, but we're not getting the data columns over gossip from time to time. So we fall back to initial sync because we can't sync those blocks. And on initial sync, we seem to be having a different bug in which we request columns for blocks that weren't canonical. And then peers just reply saying we don't have them. And that's definitely our bug. We're requesting columns that we shouldn't be requesting.
Okay, thanks for the updates. I think we should probably go light on the details here because we need to move to the breakouts any minute now. Glamstam DevNet 6. I'm guessing that this will be a topic for next week, but I think on the Steel side, we still need time so I can drop the tracker. We have a tracker for DevNet 6. And I should think we probably need at least the rest of this week and probably early next week to get ready. I don't know if anyone else from the team wants to jump in there. Or does anyone have any ambition of when this DevNet should be launched?
Do we have the test cases for all the remaining EIPs?
No, we do not. They still
Okay.
wrapped up.
What was the timeline for that?
I would say at least this week. Spencer's aiming for next Monday.
Okay. Then I would suggest next Wednesday for
Is this
target
for
date.
Glamsterdam DevNet?
Yep.
What is the change on the CL side?
Let me drop on the EL side, sorry, or on the EL side?
On the CL side, is there any breaking change? Is there any change?
No.
Then why are we going to do a new Glamsterdam DevNet? I mean, you can just deal with this on the EL DevNets.
To test the integration, I guess.
Yeah.
But if
We
it's
want
no
to stop
changes on the
handling.
CL side, then that can be handled completely on an EL DevNet.
We merge them together. There is no real devnets. That's the idea, to keep everything in capstone devnets.
I'm sorry, Stefan, but you're a bit.
Yeah, that we're merging them, but aren't there like ball devnets?
POTUS, we basically are finishing up the work, and basically we don't have a lot of changes that we want, new changes or big changes that we want to push on the separate DevNet. That's why the reason was to merge those. Because as I said previously, EL side is kind of finalizing things. So we don't have a lot of big changes that we expect.
But if
That was the
we
reason
wait,
why.
if we wait, say, just a couple of days more, then I mean, we are now at Monday. If we just ship it instead of this Wednesday, we ship it next Monday, we can do also we can also do these requests and then test the full CL.
The target is next week Wednesday, not this Wednesday.
Oh, next week's Wednesday. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Then probably we should add also. I mean, if it's agreed that we're gonna go with the new request, we can just start testing that.
I mean, yeah. I think we already agreed to ship A2A2, right?
I mean, pending a decision in ACD on Thursday, I think people are pretty much keen to get it shipped, yeah. But I would just add quickly, sorry, that I think the 8282 on top of the other EL changes is probably a bit heavy for the next DevNet. If anyone else wants to chime in, but that would be my feeling.
I don't know on the CL side, I think even without merging the PR, it should be simple.
Mario?
I think we can basically just take the template for the previous test for the system contracts, and we can. Yeah, I do agree that we should like put 8282 in the next DevNet.
Implementation on the guest side should only take like, I don't know, a day or at least, because we have the same structure for the other contracts. So we just need to pass the logs and figure out what was happening. So yeah, the big thing for 8282 is the reviews by some security people.
Okay, I like it. I hear the ambition. Then it looks like we'll try and get 82 in the next step as well. All right. And Spencer,
Who's
you
working
can.
on the engine API then? Someone needs to put up a PR for the engine API changes. Is it already in the EIP?
There are no API changes in this, right?
What do you mean? We have new requests.
Oh, yeah, but the requests are generic. You don't have to specify it. You just receive those requests alongside that's the whole point of the
Oh,
request.
so we just changed the prefix. Okay, that's perfect.
It just adds another type of request, but that doesn't have to be specified. That was why we added the generic mechanism.
All right. Okay. Thanks everyone for chiming in on that. It looks like we're upping the ante for Glamstam DevNet 6. Let's take the conversation about the changes required to async. And then I would ask if someone with magic breakout capabilities could create the breakout rooms. Is there someone here who can create breakout rooms? Is Barnabas or Parry, can you do it? Or can Mark maybe do it?
It should be done.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you on Thursday, respectively, next week.
If someone's having issues getting themselves assigned, let me know. Is anyone still struggling to get into their breakout room?